of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are St. Louis.
This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball. And tonight from Chase Field in Phoenix, Arizona, it's the St. Louis Cardinals and the Arizona Diamondbacks, Game 3 of their 4-game series. 24 runs have been scored in the last 3 wins for the St. Louis Cardinals, 3 in a row. The veteran Yadier Molina. The new addition in 2015, Jason Hayward, was stolen base number 20 last night. And how about the newcomer, Stephen Piscotty? 5 RBIs on Sunday, 7 total the last 3 games. With Pat Ferris and Rick Horton, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Welcome to Cardinals baseball. The Cardinals are remarkable 35 games above 500, and this has been fun to watch.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch the offensive resurgence the last 3 games. Those 3 players have had a lot to do with it. It's not just the average. They're hitting for power, and they're also driving in runs.
Tonight it is John Lackey. Catching him will be Yadier Molina. Coming up before our first pitch, we'll take a closer look at what he means in this series. It's all about defense with Yadi. Cardinals baseball is coming up. The Yachty factor against the Arizona Diamondbacks, a team that loves to run. Base stealing against the Central for Arizona since 2005. They have only attempted 30 stolen bases since 2005 against the Cardinals. Much of that, if not all of it, because of Yadier Molina. Molina in the lineup. He'll catch John Lackey. Patrick Corbin of the Diamondbacks has our first pitch when we come back. Diamondbacks and Cardinals on Fox Sports Midwest. To make it home. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. And visit your local Mid-America Chevy dealers for great prices on our all-new 2015 vehicles today. Roof is closed at Chase Field in Arizona. Dan, Rick, and Pat with you. 103 degrees outside. Very, very warm day. Comfortable inside here in Arizona. Mike Matheny, his lineup, hitting .270 on this road trip. The Cardinals are. It'll be Carpenter, Pham, and Peralta, followed by Hayward, Molina, Piscotty, Wong, Reynolds, and Lackey. First pitch to Matt Carpenter is taken for a ball. Brandon Moss, Greg Garcia on the bench for the Cardinals from the left side. Borges, Cosma, and Cruz from the right side. Next by Patrick Corbin is taken for a ball. 2 balls, no strikes. Carpenter, he's had a tough road trip, 1 for 17. And the one hit was a home run, 432 feet into center field here at this ballpark.
And it's the Cardinals' first look at Patrick Corbin, who was an all-star in 2013, actually pitched in the all-star game and sat out all of last year with Tommy John. In fact, he got hurt the very last spring training game. He was set to be the opening day starter against the Dodgers in 2014. Dan, if you remember, that game was played in Australia, but unfortunately the injury happened. He had to sit out. He's making his 10th start since coming back.
3-2 the count. Chip Hale has had to wait for Corbin. David Hernandez came back off of Tommy John in May. Bronson Arroyo started the season with Arizona, recovering from Tommy John, as Carpenter waves at it and strikes out. So let's take a look at the Hyundai pitch arsenal for Patrick Corbin.
27% slider. You just saw a very good one there to finish off Matt Carpenter. And Corbin will throw 93 on average from the left side. And he was voted the most valuable player for the Diamondbacks 2 years ago. I mean, this guy had a terrific start to his career. And the injury behind him now, and they hope for big things from Corbin.
Tommy Pham, his second 3-hit game of his young career was last night. And the 1-0 pitch. Base hit into left, just over Nick Ahmed. So 1 out hit for Tommy Pham. A look at the Diamondbacks and their defense tonight with David Peralta in left, the speedster A.J. Pollock in center, Ender Ciarte is in right. Lamb, Ahmed, Hill, Goldschmidt along the infield. Saltalamacchia is behind the plate. That's presented by Dobbs. And here is Johnny Peralta riding an 8-game hitting streak and hitting .367 during the streak. Strike one. To further your point about Patrick Corbin and how much they like him, they also say he is a terrific athlete. He was a two-sport junior college player in both baseball and basketball. Standing still underneath a rim, he can dunk it. They say he can dunk with a 360 style dunk too. They say he's just a tremendous athlete.
It doesn't always translate to the game of baseball to have that particular skill, but in a way it does. If you've got that kind of athleticism and body awareness, you expect him to be able to field his position well and maybe even handle the bat well. You just like athletes, prefer athletes.
1 ball, 1 strike. So when guys said, well, you're a pitcher, you're not an athlete.
Well,
that struck a chord on Rick Hord.
In some people's cases, you'd say, you're absolutely correct. Thanks for reminding me. And in other places, you'd say, well, I beg to differ.
Yes. Take it low, 2 balls and 1 strike.
Peralta, by the way, Dan, has been sitting on 16 home runs for quite some time. His last home run came on the 1st of August. But the average has been there. The RBIs have been there.
Well, he flies out to left. Just got underneath it, out in front just a bit. Peralta makes the catch, and Pham back to the bag at first.
And didn't miss that by much.
Right fielder, number 22.
In steps Jason Hayward. Joe Strauss of the St. Louis Post-Dispatch had a very interesting article today in the St. Louis paper about just fan safety in general. We see, boy, if you're sitting behind the dugout, make sure you are paying attention. Scary situations this year at the ballpark.
Well, those are 2 extraordinarily cute kids right there. And if there's a line drive in their direction, they are not going to have the ability to get out of the way. And no one is going to have the ability to get in front of them and help them if a ball's hit hard enough. And I'm just, that bothers me. It always does. And I think from a player's point of view on the field, they see it every night. I know Justin Verlander has come out within the last week and is starting to pressure Major League Baseball to do something about it. He says, I'm tired of seeing this every single night.
2 outs. Runner at first is Tommy Pham. Justin Verlander, by the way, is pitching tonight. At last check through 7 at a no-hitter. And a breaking ball and a strike to Jason Hayward, who's hitting .290 to lead the club. And in the second half, he is tops on the team in terms of average at .336. So he has really picked it up after a tough start to his Cardinal career. Here's an 0-2 pitch. And a strikeout of Hayward. 2 in the inning for Patrick Corbin. John Lackey to the mound when we come back. For the Arizona Diamondbacks, followed by A.J. Pollock and then Paul Goldschmidt. Peralta, Hill, Lamb, Soltalamacchia, Ahmed, and the pitcher Corbin. That 9 will face Cardinals starter, the right-hander, the veteran, John Lackey of the Cardinals.
John Lackey had his string broken in his last outing, and that string was 12 straight quality starts. And he didn't have a bad outing his last time out. He gave up 4 runs in 6 innings, but the 10-8 record, he did lose game 1 against San Diego on this road trip. A road trip, by the way, that the Cardinals have totally turned around after a bad start.
Thanks to some very good offense.
Absolutely.
Verlander now a no-hitter through 8, so Jim Hayes and Jim Edmonds will keep you updated on that back home in St. Louis. So win number 10 last time out for John Lackey. 12th season in a row. He's won 10 or more games. Ender Inciarte is hitting .293. And on the bench, it's all right-handed. Castillo, Owings, Hernandez, and Yasmani Tomas. Here's a 1-0 pitch. 2 balls and no strikes.
You talked about the consistent winning of John Lackey, but how about the fact that he's been consistent answering the bell every 5th day this season? He's making a team-leading 26 start, and by the end of the night, he will be either number 3 or number 4 in the National League in innings pitched at the age of 36. Pretty impressive.
2 balls, 1 strike. Inciarte lines it into left field for a leadoff base hit. What does John Lackey feature in 2015? It's the Hyundai pitch arsenal.
2 kinds of fastballs. He has a 4-seam and a sinker, and a couple of different breaking pitches, the slider and the curveball. He's going to use the slider more often. Don't see a changeup very often from Lackey, and primarily you're going to see fastball slider.
Here's A.J. Pollock. Ground ball. Could be 2. 6, 4, 3. I said to my partner tonight, Rick Horton,
I can vouch for what you're going to say.
How in the heck is A.J. Pollock hit into so many double plays? How does he lead this team in double plays in terms of grounding into them? That's number 16, because this guy can fly. Rick said, well, it's a lot of hard hit balls. That's the way that you have to explain it, obviously. And the double play has been a big story in this series.
You saw that coming here in the bottom of the 1st inning. We look at the Dobbs Tire and Auto Center's Cardinals defense. Piscotty, Pham, and Hayward. There's a good look at Wong, who turned that double play. He and Peralta up the middle. Mark Reynolds and Carpenter at the corners here for game 3.
And game one was defined by double plays with Lance Lynn on the mound. Twice the Diamondbacks, bases loaded, one out, hit into inning-ending double plays. One of those was with Goldschmidt. And a high fly ball. Deep, and I mean deep left center, 1-0 Arizona. Number 25 for Paul Goldschmidt.
The book on John Lackey has been, and we've noticed it the last 3 starts especially, swing at that first pitch because he's going to throw you a strike and then expand the zone beyond that. Well, Goldschmidt hopped on that. Good thing the double play preceded that blast, and that was a blast, Danny.
He is 6th now in the National League and tied with Anthony Rizzo with 25 home runs. League leader is Bryce Harper with 31. And that's a base hit into right field. So 3 hits in the inning. As David Peralta is aboard with 2 outs.
This is a good offense. They swing the bat well. Peralta now 6 for 7 in this series. Again, jumping on a pitch early in the count against Lackey. That's the deal. That home run, by the way, appeared to me to hit off the facade that's kind of on the same level as the bottom of the center field scoreboard. I mean, that was way out of here. Be anxious to hear a distance on that home run.
Here's Aaron Hill. He's hitting .340 in his last 15 games, and you talked about it. This offense is rolling, but yet the Cardinals have won the first 2 games. You can make a case the Diamondbacks are the hottest team in terms of offense in all of baseball, up and down their lineup. I would say that's got to be measured over 450 feet.
I believe so.
Justin Verlander has lost his no-hitter. Gave up a double in the 9th. Here's a 2-0 pitch. 2-1. And this is a team that not only is hitting well, but very aggressive in terms of base stealing coming into this series. We showed you how Yachty has shut that down against Arizona since 2005, but here in 15, number of players in double figures and stolen bases for the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Yeah, I don't want to take anything away from the Yachty factor in those low totals of stolen bases, but the Cardinals have beaten Arizona 11 of the last 12 times as well. So you're talking about a team that's playing behind, probably not going to run a whole lot. And they certainly have it in this series, but you give them a lead, maybe they will.
A foul ball, so Hill is still alive. The Cardinals, I think what's defined them in the 2 games, and a lot of things have gone right for them, but they have been so aggressive on the bases and really have set the tone in this series.
Chip Hale's comments after the game yesterday was that the Cardinals have just been so aggressive that they've kind of run Arizona right out of 2 games.
He said, quote, "These 2 games were bordering on getting embarrassed by their aggressive play." That was Chip Hale.
Well, when Yachty steals third, when you get a stolen base standing up, when you get guys taking extra bases first to third as Matt Carpenter did, and then Pham following him to second base as the trail runner, and those things tend to feel embarrassing. Of course, you got to give credit to the Cardinals for making it happen.
3-2 is yanked down the left field line and foul. As Hill checks his bat to make sure it's not cracked.
Well, Yachty controls the running game, but one of the things he does, he calls the pitch, but he's visually, look at his eyes, he's checking out the runner too. Of course, he's not losing his attention on John Lackey, but you have to be able to have good vision to be a catcher. You are controlling more than just what the pitcher is doing. You're controlling the running game. If you see something defensively you don't like, the catcher sees more of the field than anybody else does.
3-2 pitch in the air, out to left. Piscotty in front of the track and makes the catch. The Diamondbacks pick up an early lead. Home run number 25 from Goldschmidt.
Just going to hammer that point about the offensive pressure, and that includes swinging the bat the way the Cardinals have done the last 3 games, but also what they're doing on the base paths, and stay the course as far as what the Cardinals are doing from a pitching point of view. They are having an extraordinary season, best earned run average by far in baseball, and you just want them to continue to do what they've been doing.
Slow roller up the third base line, and Corbin throws it away. First error on the season for Patrick Corbin, if they give him an error. Very well could be an infield hit for Yadier Molina, as Corbin had a little bit more time than he probably realized.
Well, it's become almost epidemic. Pitchers making bad throws. And here's another one. He rushed it, probably had a chance to gather, didn't really get kind of his feet moving towards the base, probably could have done a little crow hop and get his motion going towards first base. And we have seen so many throwing errors for pitchers across the board. Not so much fielding with the glove, but just poor throws.
And now it's Stephen Piscotty. It is an error on Corbin. And the Cardinals have their second base runner tonight. Stephen Piscotty hitting .319, 2 for 8 in this series. You talk about consistency, Rick. He hasn't gone more than 2 games without a hit since he's been called up. And a check on Molina.
Well, Mike Matheny kind of, I guess, warned us that that's what we should expect with Stephen Piscotty because of his baseball IQ, his ability to adjust. Teams will get him out a certain way, and then they'll stay that way, and he will adjust and very quickly and find a way to cover that particular pitch.
And that's fouled back. Stepping in and stepping up, that has been Stephen Piscotty since July 21st. First in average, second in OPS, second in extra base hits, tied for second in RBIs.
Put different dates on that, keep the same kind of graphic on it, and put Randall Grichuk in there, and we could probably throw the numbers around a little bit differently, but that's exactly what he did prior. Stepped in and stepped up. You know, Grichuk is a name we're not saying a lot right now, obviously because he's out, but the value that Grichuk brought to this team this year, very high.
Very needed. 0-2 the count. And the next to Piscotty. The check swing, he did go. Molina to second, and that's into center field. So Yadier Molina again taking advantage The catchers here in Arizona tonight, it's Jared Sotomayor. A wild pitch is charged to Patrick Corbin on that play.
So the ball's in the dirt. Piscotty can't handle it, can't keep the hands back, but Yachty sees that the ball's in the dirt, reads it quickly. Really not a bad throw. Probably could have been handled a little better in the middle of the infield. And if caught, perhaps Yachty would have been out.
But you like the fact they're aggressive.
Of course.
Here's Colton Wong. And Wong skies it into shallow right field. Inciarte calling up the second baseman Hill for out number 2.
Mike Matheny was telling us before the game about the importance of the team being aggressive on the base paths and taking some chances. He's been preaching that. He said from day one of spring training we needed to get more aggressive on the base paths, and I think that has been borne out with what we've seen on the field. And he said very directly to us today, it means that there's going to be times where guys are out, and we're going to say, way to go. And everybody else may say, well, wait a minute, that was too much of a chance. But we would prefer that pressure on the base paths instead of just going station to station, as the team did at times a year ago.
Now it's Mark Reynolds, who is 2 for 8 in this series. Molina, the runner at second base. Pretty good arms, if you're wondering, in the outfield for the Arizona Diamondbacks, in particular in left with David Peralta, who was a former pitcher in the Cardinals system. A byproduct, Rick, of the shift, and they've got one on a little bit here with Mark Reynolds, is that your second baseman is near the bag at second, so a base hit might be tough to score Yadier Molina. They're keeping him close at the bag.
Well, you also have 8 assists with the right fielder Inciarte. You talked about their arms, but that tells me he's pretty good at charging the ball and getting rid of it quickly too. It's not just the arm strength, it's the mechanics of being an outfielder.
1-2 the count. Tonight's start number 53 at first base for Mark Reynolds. So Adams has been out. Cardinals have talked about being aggressive in terms of pushing him back into the lineup and getting him some games in the minor leagues. More than likely that'll happen in the next 4 to 5 days, and that may happen with John Jay as well.
Well, you have heard me say many times how much the Cardinals miss John Jay.
In the dirt, kept in front by Sotomayor.
Been a 300 hitter every year. He gets hits in key times, and just think he had been such a key part of the Cardinals offense, and it's tough to see him out. Getting closer and closer. Mark Reynolds, by the way, has probably hit baseballs for the furthest distance in the last week than any person on the planet Earth. Do you agree with that? Batting practice home runs from Reynolds, you add them all up, been incredible.
Reynolds grounds out here. Molina left stranded midway through 2, 1-0.
Of course, Carp was the one that really was the aggressive guy last night twice. The first inning, the fourth inning, he went first to third and later scored in both of those innings. And he said, you know what, it's not that we're putting more of an emphasis in his mind on it. It's that we have maybe better personnel to do it. And he pointed right to the right fielder, Jason Hayward. He said the addition of Hayward not only means now 20 stolen bases from just Hayward, but now 61 for the team, so 4 more than they had all of last year. And now they've got 112 extra bases taken. That's a stat where they're third best in the National League. Last year, they only had 125, so they're on pace to actually do better than they did last year, and we still have 6 weeks of the season to go. So Carp actually credits Jason Hayward and guys like that for their speed.
2 balls, no strikes on Jake Lamb. Thank you, Pat. And to further your point, Pat, visiting with Greg Garcia before the game today, I think one of the key plays in this series was Garcia on a bunt. He's the runner at first and winds up at third base. And I said, is that by design? And he said, well, it is left up to the player. He said, but it is something we have worked on at spring training. From the player's perspective, the runner has to make the decision at second base as to whether or not to keep going to third, watching how the infield develops on the play defensively. But that was a terrific play in terms of baseball instincts and aggressiveness.
And Jose Oquendo said the same thing. He said you can't really give a sign for that. You can't yell for a guy to do it. They're going to have to read it, and they have to read, can I get to that third base bag before the shortstop readjusts or the catcher gets over, perhaps the pitcher. And it's all about instincts, and you can practice it and kind of get used to the feel of it. But when it comes to in-game decision, you're on your own.
And Greg said, I'm going. He said, anytime that we have a chance to push the envelope, if you will, we will do it. And he said, that's what's going to keep me in the big leagues, too. I liked hearing that. Be aggressive. Don't play timid. And it's a walk to lead off the bottom of the second. As Lackey stares back into the home plate umpire and asking where that pitch was. First walk he's allowed. Let's go our Kia in the driver's seat. And the Cardinals, the last 3 seasons where they rank in terms of steals, a steady climb, 45, 57, and 61 this year, 17th in Major League Baseball.
And Jason Hayward has affected that trend changing. And I agree with Matt Carpenter that Jason Hayward has been kind of the catalyst.
Hit and run was on, and still they're able to turn 2. What a play by Colton Wong. They started the runner, Jake Lamb, do or die at second base, and they turn the double play 4-6-3. The second double play turned by the Redbirds tonight. How good is that?
That's a terrific play, and if you're Colton Wong, you understand that even if you don't get the runner at second, we'll still get Saltalamacchia anyway.
Exactly.
So why not try? And Peralta, and that's trusting your shortstop to be ready for it and to be able to clear from the runner sliding in. By the way, the runner's going to go right to the base, not try to take out the runner because he wants to be safe, which should clear some way for Peralta. But that was a fantastic play.
Also talked to Colton about the double plays, and he said the trust factor that he has with Peralta is second to none right now. He said we have a trust in each other. That's a big reason why you turn so many double plays. How you feed that throw to the shortstop. This one, a little shovel pass from Colton Wong, right on the money. The turn by Peralta, 4-6-3. And we head to the third, 1-0. Any size drink, just 50 cents the next day. That's coffee, fountain, or frozen drinks. When they score, you pour at your nearest On the Run. You earned it. Here's John Lackey, and then the top of the lineup for St. Louis. Corbin has struck out 3. The Cardinals have 1 hit. That was Tommy Pham with a base hit to left. The second hitter in our game tonight.
It was a nice second inning for John Lackey. Again, helped out with the double play and the terrific turn.
And Lackey, a base hit into center.
And good to see Lackey pitch well in that second after a first inning where there were a number of balls hit hard. And he gets the cheers from his fellow starters.
Every team has a little cheer or sign that they give each other. Every team does.
Arizona looks like they're driving a bus. That's the best I can understand of their particular cheer. The pitchers have their own deal, and of course, if a pitcher walks, we know they do the upside down glasses almost. They kind of do the OK sign and then flip their fingers upside down and say that the hitter has a terrific eye. I'm going to guess Mr. Wainwright started that one. By the way, a pregame guest on the pregame show, Adam Wainwright.
He has his big charity event coming up. Play fantasy football with Adam and many of the Cardinals players throughout the fall. Here's an 0-1 pitch. Now 0-2 on Carpenter, who struck out swinging back in the first.
He's going to get a steady diet of those sliders unless he starts to see the break better. Talked about how good Corbin's slider is. That season where he was an all-star in 2013, he began the season 9-0.
Oh, 0-2 the count on Carpenter.
So Lackey gets that base hit. Pitchers paying attention. Come on, we got a job to do. Here we go. We got to wait till he looks first.
Just like John Tudor used to do with you. I could never see John Tudor doing anything like that.
No. Not in a million years.
Here's a 1-2 pitch. Carpenter strikes out. Number 4 tonight for Corbin. You could see where this breaking ball went right, and it looks to be pretty good tonight. He'd be awfully tough on these lefties.
Yeah, it's a dominating pitch right now. Interesting, when the ball comes out of his glove, he does a little bit of what we talked about with Jaime Garcia last night, where he cups the ball a bit and kind of hooks it, which creates a little bit of movement.
Now it's Tommy Pham. Adam Wainwright has done so many neat things with his charity in terms of clean water for those that need it. And former Cardinal Kyle McClellan just came back from Haiti. He also has been involved with Adam in projects there and building homes and facilities for children, clean water. Steve Moore, who is the program director at KMOX, also made that trip. Kyle was back at the ballpark last week, had a nice visit with him, and changing lives. Neat stuff. The 2-0. 2 balls and 1 strike. Three and 1. Corbin was originally selected 2nd round out of a junior college in Florida by the Angels as Pham taps it foul. Then back in 2010, the Diamondbacks traded Danny Herron to Anaheim, or the Los Angeles Angels, for Rafael Rodriguez, Joe Saunders, Corbin, and a player to be named later. 3-2 the count on Tommy Pham. And it's a walk, his first walk issued. And it brings in Peralta. You can follow the Cardinals with MLB.com at bat. It's the #1 app for live baseball, in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, StatCast, and more. Get MLB.com at bat for your smartphone or tablet.
He's having a little bit of trouble with his fastball command right now, and what can happen if you're missing off the plate, you can aim a ball and throw one right down central and give up a big fly, and you got to be thinking about that as a pitcher. It's not, yes, it's a field thing, and you want to kind of focus on just throwing a strike, but you still have to let it go. You can't give in to that thought of just kind of flipping one over the middle of the plate just to get it right.
We talked to the Diamondbacks folks. We asked them, that those that cover this team day in and day out, why is Corbin so good? And he made a big jump, as you talked about, the 1 year starting 9-0, and they said the slider. They said with his slider, it was like watching a different pitcher from 1 year to the next. And then he has said he had to make the adjustment from minor league baseball to the major leagues with that slider, and it's a very good pitch.
Yeah, and all the comments about him with all of this great promise that he has, and that all-star season, that he's just a down-to-earth, humble guy, too. You always love to hear that about a young player. He's just 26 years of age, but in a sense younger than that because he had to miss a whole season. So perhaps he's got more bullets left in that arm now that he's had Tommy John. But
that's taken low.
But he just cannot throw a strike with his fastball right now.
2 balls and no strikes. Peralta fly to left, trying to extend his hitting streak to 9 games. 0 for 1 tonight.
So the strike zone is a box, right? A rectangle. That's the strike zone. Make it a smaller box if you're Johnny Peralta, and if it's in that box, let it go.
Back to Corbin, who throws to second. Perfect lead, and it's a double play. Pham went hard into second base. Clean baseball. Nick Ahmed with a turn at second base. 1-0 midway through 3.
He does not cup the ball. That's more typical. Liriano does have a terrific sinker, but he does not cup the baseball. When we look at Jaime Garcia, we've got that kind of cupped look with his hand where he's actually making it kind of bend at the wrist, and that creates some movement for Garcia. And we see the same thing, and it's a perfect picture here of Corbin doing the same thing out of the glove. He's cupping the baseball, again, to create movement. Not something you teach many pitchers to do, but we have 2 in this series that do it in Garcia and Corbin.
And Corbin will lead it off. Home half of the third, 1-0 in favor of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Good stuff there. My understanding is that Joe Garagiola will join us, former Cardinals broadcaster and player. Now 89 years young. He'll be joining us at some point tonight. They have a theme night going on here at the ballpark with Fox Sports Arizona, talking about catchers, and hopefully we'll have the chance to visit with Joe coming up. Corbin, a base hit into right. Now time for you to tweet your strongest fan photo using the hashtag MWDataStrongFan. And we'll show one of those coming up later in the telecast. Back to the top of the lineup. Ender Inciarte, signed as an international free agent out of Venezuela. And back in 2012, the Phillies picked him up in the Rule 5 draft as a backup. He remained with them for just one game and then reclaimed by the Diamondbacks. And he has found a home at the top of their lineup.
Double play has been a big factor in the last week of Cardinal games, and in some cases we've had games where the inability to turn the double play has been a factor, but we've already had 3 in this game.
Out to right field. There goes Hayward, and he's got it. Makes the catch up on the track, and back to first goes Patrick Corbin. It's a hard hit ball.
Been a number of balls hit hard. I love the gracefulness of Jason Hayward in right field. He doesn't panic. Sometimes you'll see an outfielder panic when they don't get the right route, and he just kind of glides.
And part of that is getting a good read off the bat. You don't see a lot of false steps from Jason Hayward.
How many double plays for Pollock, Dan?
16.
I was just curious.
Hit into a 6-4-3 double play back in the first inning. Well, leads the league in runs with 89.
Yeah, you were bringing that up because he scores so many runs. He has 33 stolen bases. He's just having a good year on the base pass, but oddly has hit into all those double plays.
And a fly ball into right. Hayward back again. Almost the identical spot, and makes the catch. I'm sure there's not many, if any, in the league that you would advise to say, look, with a man at first, if you fall behind in the count, don't throw him a strike. This would be one of them. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah.
And if you put a man in scoring position, so be it.
24 intentional walks, far and away the most of any National Leaguer, precisely because of that kind of situation. Now, the guy on deck, Peralta, is 6 for 7 in this series.
And a base hit into center, just past Lackey. Corbin stops at second base. And Goldschmidt is 2 for 2.
He's setting up on the outer half. He wants that sinker there, and when Lackey drops down, not only does he drop down, but the arm angle causes the ball to slide back over the inner half of the plate. where Goldschmidt can handle it. I do like the fact that Lackey will show you different arm angles. Got some wisdom, and part of the wisdom is they're swinging at a lot of first pitches. Maybe we need to start somebody off with a curveball.
First man in scoring position for the Diamondbacks tonight. Outside of the home run for Goldschmidt, the double plays have erased any type of threat that the Diamondbacks have had early on. 1 ball, 1 strike. So Corbin, who's singled to right, stands at second base. There's Goldschmidt. There's 2 outs. Peralta singled to right first time up. On the inside corner. Give Peralta a lot of credit. Worked his way in independent leagues, and then an Arizona scout, Chris Carminucci, found him. He's the coordinator of independent leagues. And if you like a player, you can sign him, take a flyer on him. And now Peralta's batting cleanup as he strikes out here with 2 runners on. 1-0 Arizona. September 6th, 25,000 fans ages 16 and older receive an adult cap that proudly displays the American flag inside the STL logo. For tickets and more information, visit cardinals.com/promotions.
Somebody went to an awful lot of trouble to make that sign, didn't they?
Talked an awful lot over the years about the 2009 draft, and just take a look at what it has meant not only to the Cardinals but also to the Arizona Diamondbacks. Pretty good talent on both sides.
Yeah, some talent that ended up getting away, but when the talent goes away, you get something for them, like Joe Kelly and of course Shelby Miller, and you got Jason Hayward in right field because of that draft and picking the right guy in Shelby Miller. Otherwise you wouldn't be able to make a deal like that.
Here's Hayward, and he looks at a strike. I think the amazing thing, by the way, with that graphic, 399 and below, yet an all-star, or actually 2 of them, with Carpenter, Rosenthal as your closer, and a ground ball that's hit to second, and Matt Adams, everyday first baseman.
Diamonds in the rough.
That's how you build a franchise, to find those types of players, say round 10 or 15 and beyond. It's incredible.
Well, the obvious choices, those are easy, because every time you go to watch a Jason Hayward play or a Shelby Miller play in high school, there are 30 teams who send a scout who sit in a lawn chair and make notes on them. I mean, it's just, they're all over, and it's not a secret. But the guys that you just boy, you see something different in them. You see something that could develop. That's where the scouts make their money.
0-2 the count on Yadier Molina. Molina has started 100 or more games for 11 straight years. And the 0-2.
Jason Hayward just bounced out, but for those who saw last night's game, Jason Hayward reached base on a catcher's interference and did follow up with Mike Matheny today, and he said that had the umpire gotten that call right, and he didn't, he made a mistake by calling it a dead ball, and it was not. Mike Matheny said he would have taken the run and accepted the out had they gotten Jason Hayward out at first base, but the home plate umpire, Chad Fairchild, immediately said dead ball, which was an incorrect call on his part, and so everybody stopped. But you could have had a position where the Cardinals would have chosen not to accept the catcher's interference because Pham scored from third. Mike was on it, Jose Oquendo was on it, Tommy Pham was on it, but our home plate umpire was not.
Big lead at that time too, so not a significant play, but could have been.
Agreed.
Ground ball hit to short. Nick Ahmed makes the play. There's 2 down.
Left fielder, Stephen Piscotty.
And it brings in Stephen Piscotty. Patrick Corbin has struck out 4 so far. He's allowed 1 walk. 2 base hits. One was to Pham in the first, the other 2 Lackey in the third. Piscotty pulls it foul. Oh, and 2. It's another breaking ball, and you were pointing out earlier the struggles that Corbin has had, at least tonight, locating the fastball.
And normally the breaking ball is set up by the fastball, and you throw fastballs for strike, and then you kind of expand the zone a little bit with your breaker. But he loves that breaking ball, and why wouldn't he? That was a slider down in the zone. Piscotty strikes out for that second time.
Yep, 5 tonight for Corbin. Midway through 4, it's 1-0. 1-0, bottom of 4 rolls in. Don't miss the Cardinals Care 6K run September 13th. You'll be taken on a route through downtown St. Louis. Finish on the field at Busch Stadium. The run benefits area kids through Cardinals Care. For more information and to sign up, head to cardinals.com/6K. Here's Aaron Hill. And a breaking ball on the first pitch. As you mentioned, Rick, maybe go to that breaking ball a little bit more often early on. It's taken for a ball.
It's actually something pitching coaches will tell young pitchers, especially the guys that have good command, good control of all their pitches. They'll say, sometimes you can throw too many strikes. You have to kind of be careful about becoming predictable. First pitch fastball over the middle. The hitters will adjust, plan on it, look fastball, and the big league hitters can hit fastballs.
Three and one.
A lot of big league hitters can hit breaking balls. They're good changeup hitters, but they all hit fastballs. If you can't hit a fastball, you're not a big league hitter.
Breaking ball, and it's now 3-2. It's amazing. You see guys that are throwing 97, 98, 99. The major league hitters, if it's straight, turn those around and hit them 500 feet. It's another breaking ball, fouled back.
How often do we have somebody come up to us, a Cardinal fan, and say, I was at the fair, or I was at the batting cage this summer, and I dialed up that 70-mile-an-hour fastball, and I couldn't see it.
3-2. Right center. Pham is over. Diving for it and comes up with a tremendous catch. Tommy Pham.
Pham made a nice play at home during the successful 6-3 homestand. And he lays out here in right center field, and if he doesn't come up with that, that's a double at least, probably a triple. That's a big help for your starting pitcher, John Lackey. A lot of balls hit hard off of John Lackey.
Absolutely.
He's not really phased too much, though.
But 2 starts ago, you may remember, against Miami, a lot of hard hit balls early on.
Right.
And then you look up and he's 7, 8 innings deep, a chance to win, and that may happen here tonight. 0-2 the count on Jake Lamb, who walked his first time. Lackey has walked 1. What a tremendous catch that was moments ago by Tommy Pham. Big gap in right center. That's fouled back.
Center field is such a huge area to cover. So not only do fans remark about how fast the fastball really is if you throw it 70 miles an hour or more, but when they stand out in center field, just to realize how much ground you're responsible for.
Saw the speed of Pham come into play on a run scored earlier in this series as well. 0-2. And a swing and a miss. Second strikeout for John Lackey.
So you think about the range of Pham, but it's even a bigger deal when you look at this play because you see both Colton Wong and Pham playing Aaron Hill to pull the baseball, and he goes to right center field. So a long way to go for Tommy Pham, and you better take the right angle on that as well. You've got one choice to take your angle, and he did, and came up with an outstanding play.
Here is Jared Saltalamacchia, switch hitting catcher, first starting in this series. 0 for 2 as a pinch hitter. First couple of games, and that pitch in his hands, and it's no balls and 2 strikes.
Did Al Raboski catch that, or did that hit just below?
Right by him, though. Right by him. That ball is hammered on a pitch that was up. Hayward over, looks up, and it's off the base of the wall. Saltalamacchia trots into second base with a stand-up double.
Play by Pham even more important now. That pitch was hammered up in the zone, a mistake by Lackey, and Cardinals fortunate that that's off the base of the wall, and also fortunate that Pham took that hit away from Aaron Hill.
And that's chopped foul off the bat of Nick Ahmed. Ahmed flied to right first time up, 0 for 1. Hitting just .205 with runners in scoring position. Outfield is shallow. Especially Pham, and that goes back to what you were talking about, the ground that you have to cover, front, back, side to side. And he's playing really in center field.
Ahmed does have 7 home runs. In fact, he hit a home run off of Jaime Garcia when the Diamondbacks were in St. Louis. So not really a power guy necessarily, but Pham really challenging him to hit the ball over his head. And I'd rather have that. If you're going to hit a line drive over the center fielder's head, from a pitcher's point of view, give him credit. Say the hitter earned it. A little bloop single to center field, I want my center fielder to be thinking out at the plate.
The 2-1 pitch to Nick Ahmed. Popped up as Lackey dropped down. Looks to be playable. It is, and the catch made by Carpenter. Diamondbacks strand a runner in scoring position. Tremendous catch. Tommy Pham. 1-0 Arizona. Jimmy, thanks. So it hits the chalk line, and you think about Verlander, he has had so many near misses. Now he's gotten them too, but boy, he's taken a lot of no-hitters into games late.
Hitting the chalk line makes me think of Carlos Beltran.
Sure does.
And a no-hitter.
Johan Santana, the only Mets no-hitter in franchise history. First pitch to Colton Wong, taken for a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Wong fly to right. So 7, 8, and 9 for the Cardinals in their lineup. Wong, Reynolds, and Lackey. St. Louis with just 2 hits. They've stranded 3. In general, give me your thoughts on watching so far 4 innings of Patrick Corbin.
Well, I think everything he throws moves. I think his slider is a plus pitch.
And a ground ball off the bat of Colton Wong for out number 1.
And hard to imagine his last time out against the Reds. He went 2 innings and gave up 8 hits.
Get ready for hockey. It is almost here. Fox Sports Midwest and the St. Louis Blues invite you to Icebreaker 2015 this Sunday at Ballpark Village. Some of the images and shots from last year's Icebreaker. Schedule of events. Head to stlouisblues.com. This event is free, and that'll be this Sunday at Ballpark Village. Here's Mark Reynolds. Reynolds grounded out to short, first time up. Reynolds may have tied it. Line shot, and we are tied. Home run, Mark Reynolds, number 11. A solo shot gets out in a blink of an eye. Third hit for the Cardinals, and we're tied up at 1.
Well, this is what Mark Reynolds brings you. Instant power. We've seen him hit some sky shots. This one a little bit different off the bat of Mark Reynolds. It was a missile. It was out in a hurry. 107 off the bat of the Cardinal first baseman.
0-2 the count on John Lackey. He singled to center his first time up. Big gap in left center for Lackey, and he pops it foul and out of play. I think it's been a frustrating year when you look at the strikeouts with Mark Reynolds to an extent, but this is who he is.
Yeah.
And the role that he was supposed to have with this club was to come off the bench. As Lackey strikes out, number 6 tonight for Corbin. Go back to the home run. Number 11 for Mark Reynolds.
We mentioned he's hit some tape measured shots during batting practice this entire trip. He's just been locked in. And Corbin knew it, and I think Reynolds knew it right about now, too. That ball was smoked. Not one of those tape measure shots, but I wouldn't want to try to catch that ball in the bleachers.
No.
That's one where you just kind of let it hit a seat and go pick it up. Or let it hit somebody else trying to catch it and then go pick it up.
Breaking ball and a strike to Carpenter, who is 0 for 2. Corbin has walked 1. He has struck out 6. Cardinals have been out hit in this game 6-3. 0-1 pitch. Now 0-2. He's had Carpenter's number here tonight.
He is not reacting well to the slider, and he's just going to get a steady diet of those till he does. I almost feel like he's got to throw him another one.
And Carpenter strikes out for the 3rd time tonight. Reynolds has tied it up. Home run number 11, RBI number 41. A line shot into the seats and left. Midway through 5. New game, 1-1. broadcaster Harry Carey. 25,000 fans ages 16 and older received the Harry Carey bobblehead with voice chip of his epic call of Stan the Man's 3,000th hit, courtesy of Maryville University. Tickets at cardinals.com/promotions. So Patrick Corbin will lead it off, followed by Ender Inciarte and A.J. Pollock. It's 1-1. Corbin a single to right first time up. And quickly, no balls and 2 strikes.
Give Corbin and John Lackey both a little credit here. It's a 1-1 game in the 5th inning with the Diamondbacks, the top run producing team in the National League, and the Cardinals a pretty hot team offensively the last 3 days. So pitchers have done a nice job here tonight. There have been a number of balls hit hard. Mark Reynolds' home run, perhaps the hardest. Well, Paul Goldschmidt's, that was pretty hard too.
And long.
Oh my, I'll say.
Lackey picks up the strikeout. Number 3 tonight for John. And the first man retired here in the home half of the 5th.
Right fielder, Ender Inciarte.
What's on Tap is presented by Budweiser. Again, we'll come your way tomorrow at 8. Wrap up the series with the Diamondbacks, Martinez and De La Rosa. Carlos 12-6, De La Rosa 11-5. Come your way at 8, and then we're off to San Francisco. Ender Inciarte is single to left and also lined out to right. The Cardinals do not talk about players in contract negotiations for obvious reasons. Want the players to be focused on what's happening here on the field and whatnot. Leverage, all types of reasons. But
yes,
you have to wonder about just where they sit right now in their thought process with John Lackey. You know, are they thinking about bringing him back? Is it somebody they want back? Is there somebody from the minor leagues that potentially fills this role? What does Lackey want? All those questions right now are on the table.
They're all on the table, or they're on the maybe they're on the side table. They may not be on the main table, but they're certainly going to come up at some point. And you try to keep them in the back of your mind if you're a player, because you're in the business of trying to win games and trying to win a division and play in October, and all those things kind of can get in the way of that. But you have to handle your business too. So it's not that you're not thinking about it at all, but you certainly don't want to bring it to the ballpark. Even the guys that can handle that conversation and still focus, if you're talking about it or the team's talking about you, maybe there's one of your teammates who can't handle it. That's why it's always a bad thing in my mind to talk business openly during the season. We had a young player, came to the big leagues, was complaining the first week of the season about his contract, and a coach, I happened to be standing there, a coach got right in his face and said, look, you signed the contract. I don't want to ever hear you say that ever again. If you're not happy with your contract, change it at the end of the season. You're playing baseball now. And
period.
Oh my goodness, it was a strong statement, and kind of got to hear that whole comment, and it was true. It was a absolutely true, and exactly what that player needed to hear.
1 out. First pitch to Pollock. Take it for his strike. Cardinals have turned 2 double plays tonight. One of those off the bat of Pollock back in the first. Lackey was telling us this will not be his final season. He does want to play beyond 2015. And he's probably making himself a pretty nice payday upcoming. The other thing John Lackey has done that I look at too, Rick, is that, you know what? He brings an edge to what's happening with this club too.
He does. He's got an edge, and you know, we've seen that Lance Lynn sometimes has a little edge emotionally, and I think those two guys are kind of two peas in a pod in some ways. They kind of wear their emotions out on the mound during a game, and it's a good thing. By the way, that last foul ball may have been caught by Joe Garagiola.
Could it be 2? Wong spins. The throw by Peralta. Double play. 4, 6-3. How good was that? Started by the young second baseman of the Cardinals. The second time that Pollock is hit into a double play. The spin by Wong. The perfect feed. Inning-ending double play. November 5th, 25,000 fans ages 16 and older take home an adult gray throwback jersey courtesy of AT&T. For tickets, visit cardinals.com/promotions. Cardinals have turned 3 double plays tonight. Here's Tommy Pham, who has been on base twice with a single and a walk. Boy, I love that play by Colton Wong moments ago.
Oh. Well, he's been a part of 2 of those double plays. Actually been a part of all 3 of them, but started 2 of them, and one was a terrific play on the backhand. The other one was kind of a gutsy play on a hit and run, and really had a nice defensive game. And we've talked about Colton sometimes putting so much pressure on himself, and that pressure can manifest itself at the plate and in the field. I guess I would say and or in the field. He had a nice night offensively. His first game back after a couple of days off, had 2 hits last night. He's made a couple of good plays today, so good to see.
And a leadoff walk for Tommy Pham. Second walk he's received.
That walk could be the biggest mistake of this ballgame.
DraftKings.com, the promo code cards. We're looking at the highest stolen base percentage in the National League this year. Hayward at 91%, Hamilton, Pollock, and Goldschmidt. Enter the promo code cards. Johnny Peralta hit into a double play. He's also flied out to left. If you're the Cardinals, do you think about starting Tommy Pham here and get something going? You've seen that Corbin's been tough on the lefties. You've got Hayward on deck. Just something to think about. He is leaning, not running, and the pitch is taken for a ball.
Certainly a possibility. Chris Maloney whispering the verbal sign to Tommy Pham right now, and it's going to bring Saltalamacchia out to the mound to talk to his pitcher. So everybody's certainly thinking about what's going on.
There was frustration in Miami with Saltalamacchia. There was a lot of teams felt you could run on him.
Exactly right, and that's why he didn't last with Miami, and they kind of pulled the plug on him pretty quickly. They didn't think he could throw people out, and so you want to take advantage of that and run when he's behind the plate, but you also have to watch out for the left-hander's move.
The key to a good move with a lefty, what was it for you? You had a great one.
Well, I think part of it is you set up your best move. You don't always show your best move. You kind of give them the half move, and then you kind of follow it up with something a little nastier where they kind of think you're going home. But I do think there are pitchers that get a little too concerned, lefties, a little bit too concerned about their move to first base, because of the way you throw home, to me, is much more important than having a good move to first. And if you have to alter your delivery home to have a good move to first, it's not worth it.
The 1-1. A strike on the inside corner, and Peralta couldn't believe it. Now he's in the hole 1-2.
Having a good move is also a matter of deception sometimes. What you do with that front knee, picking it up.
Ooh. Corbin went right back to that spot. 2-2 the count. Let's see if Pham wants to do some running here. Leaning again, and a 2-2 pitch. Not running. Peralta pops it up. Hill puts it away for the out. Pham back to the bag.
I don't mind giving Peralta a chance to drive the baseball with nobody out. Now with a left-hander at the plate in Jason Hayward, I think maybe a better opportunity for a hit and run here in this situation. I think you let Jason, who we've seen him hit left-handers well, but I mean, if you have a hit and run swing, there are times where you're taking the power away from the guy at the plate. Because you're asking him to hit the ball on the ground, hit the ball the other way. If you got a lefty on lefty, I'm okay with kind of taking that away from Jason Hayward here and just have him hit the ball on the ground somewhere and see if you can go first or third.
Do you think that's why Chip Hale was out there instead of the pitching coach?
Maybe.
No activity in either bullpen. 75 pitches for Corbin tonight. Runner at first is Tommy Pham with one out. Hayward is struck out and grounded out.
Good time to do it right here. 1-0. Pretty good lead for Pham.
Not running, and it's now 1 ball, 1 strike. Talked about it last night, the success that Hayward has had against lefties. 287. The 1-1 pitch. Hayward skies one into center field. A.J. Pollock makes the catch. Pham draws a throw. The throw is right on the bag.
We saw in that graphic just 1 home run for Hayward against left-handed pitching, which is my thought about using the hit and run with him. And now it's going to be up to Molina to hit a 2-out double to score Tommy Pham. Or maybe you go with the straight steal here.
Shade Molina a bit to the opposite way. 2 outs. Runner at first is Pham. First pitch to Molina. Take it for a ball. Stephen Piscotty is on deck. Are you surprised we haven't seen Pham in motion?
Well, I think for the reasons I said with the 2 power hitters at the plate, I guess definitely with Peralta, I got it. I'm surprised there was not something set in motion with Hayward at the plate.
1-0 is hit out of play.
Though again, with your power hitters at the plate, when you're in the middle of the lineup, you normally don't hit and run with it, because you want those guys to have a power swing at bat, not a defensive hit the ball the other way at bat. Certainly Molina's the classic hit and run type batter, but it's too late now because you're dealing with 2 outs. You won't get the desired result.
And the 1-1 pitch to Yadier Molina instead of check on Pham. Pham only 1 stolen base this year in 1 attempt. Slightly bigger lead. Quick move by Corbin. Back in safely. Hernandez begins to throw. David Hernandez, the right-hander. And the D-backs bullpen. Outside.
Dan, we are not privy to the Cardinals' signs as far as stealing bases, nor should we be. But we do know that most teams will use, and the Cardinals are one of them, will use kind of a must-go steal, and then there's a you can go if you get a good jump. And sometimes you realize a player's not going, not because the steal's not on, he just doesn't feel it.
The 2-1 fly ball into right center. Pollock is there. Leadoff walk, and Pham stranded at first base. Rewind. Double play is a story in this game, and the Cardinals have turned 3 of them, twice off the bat of A.J. Pollock. And you think about double plays in the series, Rick Horton, that has been one of the stories for the Cardinals.
No doubt about it. And this is Colton Wong making the best one. That's the 4-6-3. That's the second one against Pollock. And you get 2 outs with 1 pitch. You get a guy to break his helmet. I mean, you get a lot of good things happen when you turn those double plays. Frustration of Pollock, because if that ball gets past Colton Wong, that's first and third and a big hit.
And now it's Paul Goldschmidt here in the home half of the 6th. A solo home run and also a base hit to center field. He's 2 for 2. Lackey didn't get the first pitch. That one evens it up at 1 ball and 1 strike. Seems like he's throwing more breaking balls tonight. Would you agree?
Yes. And especially early in the count. I mean, it's one thing to kind of get that strikeout once you get ahead 1-2. But he's made an adjustment, and it's not just John Lackey, it's Yadier Molina noticing that teams are starting to gear up for that first pitch fastball from Lackey. Another slider.
2-2.
Pitchers call that pitching backwards. Sliders early in the count, fastballs late. He wants another one.
And he got him. Strikeout number 4 for John Lackey. Choose Nissan.com. Drive of the game. Paul Goldschmidt, a long solo home run back in the first inning. And then it was Mark Reynolds, the former Diamondback, with a line shot clearing the wall and left. This game is tied at 1.
We'll see Reynolds again in the top of the 7th. The Cardinals will have Piscotty, Wong, Reynolds, and then Lackey's spot.
Look how comfortable Johnny Peralta is on that play. I mean, that is as smooth as it gets at shortstop. Anything he gets to, he makes the play for the most part.
Often maligned for not having great range. But this feels like a base hit if you're John Lackey, but it's not. There's Peralta. Perfectly positioned. Notice he's playing him to pull. The good hands. Peralta's got an underrated arm, too. He's got a very accurate arm. I would say, I mean, it's not a plus arm, but I would say it's a good arm, but a very accurate arm.
And when he needs to let it fly, he does. Going back to your point, you pointed it out early in the game. Lackey, first pitch, breaking ball, check swing by Aaron Hill.
And again, the reason I call it pitching backwards is that, you know, guys are going up there geared for the fastball. So you're going to do the opposite. You're going to throw the breaking pitch early in the count and see if you can get them off balance, maybe hit the ball on the ground, maybe take a strike. And then once they're in protect mode, you get to 2 strikes. Then you show them the fastball because they're waiting back and perhaps they're late on your fastball.
And the 0-2 pitch. Lackey thought he had strike 3. He was headed to the dugout.
Tried to tie him up with a fastball.
And you saw the previous pitch late on the fastball. 16 of 23 first pitch strikes. Ground ball. Here's Peralta. Quickly to first, and the pick by Reynolds. The Cardinals defense coming through again tonight. Very nice play by Mark Reynolds. And it doesn't seem to be a play that will be reviewed by Arizona. The pick by Reynolds, clearly out. run, the Gateway Honda dealers donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. We had a winner last night, and we have a new pitcher in. This is David Hernandez, our Chevy, called to the pen. Another pitcher recovering from Tommy John. He was back in May. And so he will get Stephen Piscotty, Colton Wong, and Mark Reynolds. Mark Reynolds with the home run to tie the game, which was back in the 5th inning. Here's a 1-0 pitch. Piscotty, Adams, Carpenter, Craig, and Freeze. BJC Healthcare difference maker, the last 5 with 20 or more RBIs in their first 30 career games. Here's a 1-1. And Piscotty sends it into center. Leadoff base hit. So again, the Cardinals get the leadoff man on. This time, Stephen Piscotty, 1 for 3. You can see where A.J. Pollock was playing fairly deep for Piscotty, and because of that, off the end of the bat, didn't carry it all that much. And with that, the leadoff man is aboard for St. Louis. Here's Colton Wong, who is 0 for 2. The Cardinals get Corbin out of this game. Let's see what the Cardinals want to do with Wong, and with the way things have gone for him, and yes, good game last night, couple of hits, RBI, extra base hit with a double. Do you think about the bunt here?
I'm not sure I'd bunt here. I prefer letting him swing the bat. Maybe too early. If it's the 9th inning, maybe yes. But still plenty of baseball left here tonight. 3 more innings to go. I'd play for a bigger inning. I'd be more inclined to have a hit and run with Colton Wong. We've been calling for one of those, and at some point we're going to see one.
Here's a 1-0 pitch. 2-0. Reynolds, who homered back in the 5th, is, by the way, 4th all-time in Diamondbacks franchise history in home runs with 121, the all-time leader. Luis Gonzalez at 224. And the 2-0. Taken for a ball. 3 balls, no strikes. Strike 1. David Hernandez with 67 holds, most all time among Diamondbacks pitchers. Missed all of last season. Tommy John surgery, as we mentioned, and is not allowed to run in 6 of his last 7 outings. The 3-1. Now 3-2.
Definitely has the plus fastball, and when he's not injured, he's durable. 70 plus games.
Cishek throwing for the Cardinals in their pen. Short lead at first by Piscotty, and a 3-2. He is running, and that's popped foul out of play. Leadoff base hit by Stephen Piscotty. And a check on him. Big gap in right center. 3-2 to Wong. Piscotty is running. That's lined into left field. That ball is over the head of Peralta. Piscotty was running on the pitch. rounding third, relay to the plate. Wong delivers. Cardinals go on top. It's 2-1. RBI number 50 for the Cardinals second baseman.
Nice to see Colton Wong a part of positive things, and this was extremely positive. Over the head of Peralta. That ball was hit on the line, and Piscotty running on the pitch, waited a bit as he's rounding second. Then he saw Peralta wasn't going to catch it, and as a runner you go just far enough to know if he doesn't catch it, I can score. Good base running by Piscotty and a terrific at bat for Colton Wong.
I think Reynolds' eyes lit up with that last pitch.
Well, Hernandez's eyes probably lit up too for different reasons.
He got away with one. It's a big run at second base. Colton Wong. Brandon Moss has moved to the on-deck circle. Well, as you said, you think about it. Do you bunt with Wong? No, think bigger. And now they have a chance to do that.
Wondered about Colton Wong maybe making that a part of his arsenal a little more anyway. Bunting. You know he's got the power potential. Good to see him get an extra base hit. Hasn't had many of those lately.
Reynolds strikes out, first out in the inning. The Cardinals will pull back Moss, and Lackey will hit for himself. The Mazda game summary: 2-1 Cardinals. Lackey now still in the game. 6 innings, 7 hits, 1 run. Reynolds 1 for 3 with the solo shot. Corbin, the starter for Arizona, 6 innings and 3 hits. Paul Goldschmidt, a long home run, number 25, back in the first. So if Wong gets to third, Moss hits. And in this case, John Lackey now with Wong at second and 1 out. Wong has the ability to steal third. It's something to think about, even though the pitcher is up. 14 stolen bases this year. Lackey hits it too short. Taken by Nick Ahmed. 2 outs in the inning, and it brings in Carpenter, who has had a tough night.
Tough night against the lefty. He is very thankful that Patrick Corbin's out of this game. Now we'll face David Hernandez for the first time, and you may see something very, very different in this at bat for Matt Carpenter. Certainly frustrated, but different guy, different time, although it won't be David Hernandez. They have a couple of left-handers in their bullpen, Chafin and Reynolds. And it looks like we'll see one of them. Hernandez is through. Cardinals threatening for more here in the 7th inning. They've taken the lead 2-1 thanks to Colton Wong going the other way. His double made it 2-1 St. Louis. Andrew Chafin will take over for the Diamondbacks. His chore is Matt Carpenter. He's our Chevy call to the bullpen. We saw Chafin lose his streak of 19 straight scoreless appearances, Dan, and we saw a steady diet of sliders from Corbin. We'll see how the Diamondbacks attack Matt Carpenter in this at-bat, bringing in the left-hander from the bullpen, trailing by 1.
So Carpenter is 0 for 3. And he gets a fastball, and that may be the only fastball he sees in this at-bat. Among the rookie rankings, Chafin first in opponent's average, ERA, games, saves, and wins. He's had a very good year. And the 0-1 pitch. Carpenter, base hit into right, a 2-out hit. Wong will score. 3-1 St. Louis. Matt Carpenter was ready for that breaking ball. RBI number 66.
That's a big hit in this game, and it is a slider, but it's not Patrick Corbin's slider. It's a hanger. Middle in, and he jumps on it. So Wong drives in a run and scores a run here in the Cardinals 7th.
Righties are just 5 for their last 36 against this lefty. 2 outs and a check on Carpenter at first as he comes through with a huge 2-out base hit that closes the book on Hernandez, who gives up 2 hits and 2 runs. They're in the 5th in San Francisco, and the Cubbies are tied with the Giants 2-2. Pittsburgh posted a victory earlier tonight 7-2 over Miami. Wrong ballpark. He seemed really happy too. Fun at the old ballpark, Rick.
Well, he's not happy because the Cardinals have picked up 2 runs in the 7th, and he's thinking, hey, my guys keep winning. 7-2 score. He can see that on the scoreboard, and yet it's hard to catch the Cardinals when they're playing so well. 14-8 in the month of August.
The Hyundai pitch arsenal for this left-hander. Chafin.
You mentioned he's had a very good season. Throws a lot of fastballs, 27% sliders.
Tommy Pham on base 3 times tonight, pair of walks. And a pickoff, and Carpenter is back in safely.
Think about how much the Cardinals have tinkered with their order this year and how they've had a hard time figuring out who's the right guy to hit in that second spot. Matt Carpenter was there for a while, tried Jason Hayward there. A number of players have hit in that second spot, put Colton Wong there. I wonder if Tommy Pham is showing that he could be that guy.
On the inside corner, and he strikes out. This will be the 7th inning stretch as we roll on in game 3. Carpenter, big 2-out hit, 3-1. And it looks to be, Rick, I mean, barring a big collapse, and again, there's still plenty of time, a little over a month, but it looks like you're going to have 3 teams from the NL Central in postseason play.
Sure does look like that. Chicago and Pittsburgh not letting up. So if you are San Francisco, Washington, and Arizona, your best bet is to try to win your division.
LA has posted a win tonight, 7-4 over Cincinnati.
I could see LA going both directions. I mean, potentially. Could see them catching fire and having a big September. Their pitching can be so dominating with Greinke and Kershaw at the top of their rotation. I mean, that's 2 of the best in the game, for goodness sakes, on one team. But I could also see them kind of tail spinning the wrong direction because they just don't seem to have that chemistry or synergy at times.
Yeah. Fly ball, right field, Hayward with room. Jake Lamb is the first out.
Pitch count still very low for John Lackey.
Only at 82. Here's Saltalamacchia, who's grounded into a double play and doubled off the wall at right center. And a fly ball lifted out to deep left center field. Tommy Pham with the catch. As promised earlier in the game, we have selected the Data Strong fan photo of the game. Tweet your strongest photos to the hashtag MWDataStrongFan. Now that's a Cardinal fan. Minnie Fredbird and cheering on her Redbirds. So 2 down, and it brings in Nick Ahmed.
Dan, thinking about how difficult the decision may have been for Mike Matheny to not kind of go to a pinch hitter for John Lackey in a 2-1 game with a chance to add on in the 7th inning, but that decision vindicated by Matt Carpenter coming up with a 2-out hit to drive that run in anyway to extend the lead, and then Lackey going out there and getting a couple of quick outs in the next inning. Again, there's no right or wrong. You just kind of have a feel for the game and your personnel, and I still think there's a little voice in your head saying we need to capitalize here in the 7th inning. Maybe pinch hitting makes sense, but clearly he made the right choice.
May see him in the 8th, the way things are going.
So many factors that go into that decision that takes place in the 7th, 8th inning of what to do with your starter. And it's made even more interesting to me in the National League than it is in the American League. And there's, I don't want to exaggerate, but certainly a dozen or more factors go into play on whether to pinch hit or not, and who to bring in and why. And again, it makes National League Baseball, to me, much more interesting.
Up. Let's go to our studio. Jim Hayes standing by with a Bomberito Sports Update.
Leading off for St. Louis, shortstop Johnny Peralta.
Just no run support for Shelby Miller this year. Bottom line, as they try to redo their roster and lineup, looking ahead to their new stadium in a year.
That's a reeling team right now, isn't it?
We will see the Atlanta Braves final weekend of the regular season as Peralta swings and misses. Chafin is second inning of work. Johnny is hitless in 3 plate appearances tonight. Then we'll see Hayward and Molina. Watch out. Fan brought a glove and made a good play. Saved everybody else.
You know, that goes back to what we showed the very first inning of this game with those young kids sitting right above that dugout on the third base side, and just grateful that that ball wasn't hit lower.
0-2. The check swing, and Peralta strikes out. Second strikeout for Chafin. This guy must have pretty good stuff, because that's now 5 for 37. The lefties, we'll check that now, 5 for 38 after the 2 strikeouts of Pham and Peralta. But a late swing like that by Johnny Peralta, who is the quote-unquote professional hitter, you don't see that very often.
You do not. Well, you mentioned all the categories that he's leading in for National League rookies, and he's showing us why.
Hayward over 3. Our understanding is that Trevor Rosenthal will not be with the club this weekend in San Francisco. His wife is expecting the birth of their second daughter, so very well could see him pitch tonight, maybe even tomorrow. Back-to-back games. Hayward grounds to short, 2 down. But right now, John Lackey again hit hard early on and has settled in.
Really happy to see that baseball has come a long way, Dan, in handling not only paternity leave for players, but also the bereavement list. That was something that was not really a part of baseball years ago, and maybe callously not a part of it. And good thing baseball has kind of figured that out, that the players have things outside the game as well. 3-1 St. Louis.
to you by Budweiser. Make a plan to make it home. And by Ford, the official cars and trucks of the St. Louis Cardinals. The Cardinals will go to their bullpen here in Phoenix. And it'll be Kevin Segrist, 3-1 St. Louis leading here in the home half of the 8th. Rick, the 59th time the Cardinals have had a starter give up 1 run or less this year. That's incredible.
So much easier to set up your bullpen, too. That's something we haven't talked about a lot, and set up perfectly tonight for Segrist and Rosenthal. Segrist, our Chevy call to the bullpen. Only 88 pitches for John Lackey.
The starters, when they give up 1 run or less in these games, 39-2. The team 48-10. John Lackey, 87 pitches tonight. Wonder how much thought Mike Matheny gave to sending him back out there. And the first pitch from Kevin Segrist is a strike. Chris Owings off the bench for Arizona as we start play here in the home half of the 8th. 3-1 St. Louis. Their off-speed pitch, 2 balls, 1 strike. Owings here, and then the top of the lineup. You still have to go through Goldschmidt one more time.
The goal will be to allow him to come to the plate with nobody on base. That's the plan.
So the idea, have a 1-2-3 inning. Three and 1. Three and 2. Here comes a fastball from Segrist. And he got him. The strikeout of Owings. John Lackey tonight, 7 hits allowed in his 7 innings and just 1 run, the Goldschmidt homer. Fastball and a strike to Ender Inciarte. Single to left, lined out to right, and a base hit to right. One ball and 1 strike. And a ground ball hit to the right side. Colton Wong, 2 away. This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the St. Louis Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. So with 2 outs, here's A.J. Pollock. Pollock, a tough night. He's lined out and hit into 2 double plays. Lines it into center again. There's Tommy Pham. The tough night continues. Hit the ball hard 4 times tonight. Thank you, Jim. Looking forward to the post-game show. Jim will be with us in San Francisco. Pat heads back to St. Louis. As Josh Colmenter, right-hander, will take over our Chevy call to the pen, and that'll be this weekend. Well, as you mentioned, Rick, a key was keeping Goldschmidt on deck, so he'll lead it off with nobody on base as Stephen Piscotty digs in, and he got things going for the Cardinals back in the 7th with a leadoff hit. That was against Hernandez, and that started a rally.
We talked in the open about the balanced Cardinals attack, that they've gotten production from a lot of places, and Piscotty's certainly been one of them and part of that 2-run 7th inning. But really, you could add Tommy Pham to that. He's been productive lately. The home run by Reynolds that came in the 5th inning, and Colton Wong with a big double. So you're going to win games, you're going to have multiple people contribute. One player cannot carry a baseball team offensively. It just can't work.
Piscotty singled, then the double by Colton Wong over the head of Peralta. Strikeout of Reynolds. Lackey grounded out. Then the Cardinals come through with the big 2-out hit from Carpenter. 1-2 pitch. Taken high. It's a great problem to have, but something you have to think about if you're Mike Matheny. When this team gets healthy, Holiday, Jay, Adams, Grichuk. I guess you just say, well, gentlemen, whoever produces plays. That's the way you have to look at it. However, a byproduct of that is a terrific bench in September and a playoff run potentially. Two and two the count. Out in front again. Yanks it foul. On the air tomorrow, St. Louis time at 8. Carlos Martinez against De La Rosa. Over the weekend, Walker will hook up with Mike Leake, game 1 on Friday night from San Francisco. Lynn against Vogelsong Saturday, and then Garcia and Kane on Sunday. Spoiled again by Piscotty.
There is not a Cardinal starter that you just say, boy, I'm not looking forward to watching him pitch.
Just thinking that.
And a lot of teams do have that problem. You kind of get to a certain part of your rotation Let's say you're the Dodgers. Say, okay, we're at Greinke and Kershaw. Feeling pretty good about these 2 games. The other ones, we'll see. The Cardinals, you just never have that sense of having less than an A pitcher pitching on any given night.
To a point, I compare the Cardinals, and I think you mentioned this last night, but the Cardinals pitching of 2015 is like runners in scoring position of a couple years ago with the offense. And you just wonder, is it going to come back down? Maybe not with the pitching. The 2-2. Piscotty hits a fly ball into center field. There's Pollock, and there's one away.
It's historic what the Cardinals did on the offensive side with runners in scoring position 2 years ago. You think about Alan Craig, even the bench players. Remember that year, don't know the number, but Tony Cruz was hitting 390, 400. Everybody was producing.
And doing it even with 2 outs.
With 2 outs, runners in scoring position, and the Cardinals offense was just, again, at historic levels. And I think the pitching has been that way with runners in scoring position. Lackey tonight, as an example, Dan, a lot of hard hit balls in the early going. Hard hit balls, some were defended well. Colton Wong, Tommy Pham, part of that, but he also stranded some runners.
A broken bat that's hit to second base, and Wong is retired. Colton Wong with the go-ahead hit and RBI back in the 7th inning with a double over the outstretched arm and glove of Peralta in left. So in steps Reynolds, and the Cardinals have Rosenthal up and throwing, and he'll pitch in the bottom of the 9th. Reynolds with a home run to tie it back in inning number 5 off of Corbin. I think we both would agree. You can see why the Diamondbacks are high on the lefty Corbin. He was good.
Not sure where he would rank in terms of his slider from the pitches that we've seen this year. Chris Sale was pretty nasty with his, and think of other guys that have just A+ sliders, but Corbin would be on that list, maybe top 5. When you make Matt Carpenter look as bad as Carpenter did against that slider, you know you've got a plus pitch.
How good of a softball player is Mark Reynolds going to be in a few years? The preeminent power hitter in the country.
I'm sure he's not thinking about it right now. But
the shift is on with 2 strikes, the 1-2 pitch, and he spoiled it.
I'm sure his phone will ring quite a bit. I guess they buzz, they don't ring in some cases, but the minute he decides to retire, all of his old friends will say, "Hey, Mark, I heard you retired. I got a bunch of guys, we're thinking about getting a softball team together, and we'd love to have you try out."
He's made the team. In my book, he's made the team.
Well, they're going to have to come up with some incentives, I would guess.
Right. Two and two the count. Up and in to Reynolds. Makes his offseason home here in Arizona. Three-two. Out of play. The Diamondbacks have the heart of the lineup coming up. Goldschmidt, Peralta, and Hill. And it's another 3-2. And Reynolds draws a walk. The Cardinals will send Brandon Moss to the plate as a pinch hitter. He pinch hits for Segrist as Rosenthal will pitch the bottom of the ninth. You know, it's interesting. Chip Hale did not have a lefty throwing in the pen. He's got two of them. One is already pitched. That's Chafin. Matt Reynolds being the other.
Reynolds has pitched a couple of times in the last few days and may be off limits perhaps for this game. And the managers aren't going to tell you who is off on a given night. I think you can overmanage in a game you're losing too. I think the matchup thing can be and is really important part of this game. But I think if you're down 3-1, there are times where somebody's going to have to get somebody out who's left-handed. If you're a right-handed pitcher, just going to have to do it. Otherwise, you're wasting your left-handers night after night.
That pitch taken down by Brandon Moss. Still looking for that first home run wearing the Cardinals uniform. And the second baseman is a good 15-20 feet on the outfield grass. Here's a 1-0. Carpenter is on deck. And the only reason I was bringing it up is that you have a lefty-lefty matchup here. Then you know he'll face Carpenter as well. Just something to think about, but I also agree with what you're saying. Maybe we overthink it a little too much.
Well, I don't mind the matchups. Generally, you just prefer to do them in games you're trying to close out.
Inciarte calling off the second baseman, coming on to make the catch, and that man coming on. When we come back, Cardinals closer Trevor Rosenthal, the All-Star, when we come back. Some changes for the Cardinals. It's 3-1 as we move to the bottom of the ninth. St. Louis looking to make it 4 in a row and 3 in a row over Arizona. Trevor Rosenthal, our Chevy, called to the pen. He is 39 of 41 in saves this year. Rosenthal, opponents hitting just .220 against him. The overpowering fastball at times. 64 in 57 and a third innings pitched.
We talked about the consistent starting pitching for the Cardinals, but you can throw Trevor Rosenthal into that mix as well in terms of high level of consistency. He has been outstanding. A lot of first pitch strikes. There's Peter Borges, who's taken over in center.
And the first pitch at 96, a strike.
Just got word, by the way, Goldschmidt's home run earlier, 471 feet.
Wow.
You said 450 plus.
It's kind of like the Price is Right, you know, when you put down
over or under.
Yeah. You know, you got your basic number to put out there. Come on down.
You can't go over or you don't win the trip to Bermuda.
Right. Here's a 1-1. I want to play Plinko someday.
I don't know what that is.
You got to look it up. It's good stuff.
Teach me a lot, Danny.
The 2-1. And I also thought Bob Barker was fantastic in Happy Gilmore.
Now that's where my mind was. Price is wrong, Bob.
Here's a 2-2 to Paul Goldschmidt. Just missed. The 3-2. Goldschmidt, a swing and a miss, and Rosenthal gets the strikeout.
That is as defensive a swing as you're going to get out of Paul Goldschmidt. That's buy-in. Kind of waves at it. He's late. Unhittable.
Rosenthal trying to match Mark Melancon. He's the National League's top save man here in 2015. He has 39. Melancon with 40. David Peralta, the 1-0 pitch. Out in front, hit down the right field line. That ball is hooking and foul. Home run distance, but foul. The 1-1. A high strike. Well, here you are. You got a guy that throws near 100, features a curveball, at times is very good. Tremendous changeup. They give you the high strike if you're Rosenthal, and now Peralta's thinking, really? 1 ball, 2 strikes. And a foul ball.
That ball come up and hit him in the face?
Yep. By the way, I wonder if Molina ever caught Peralta when he was in the Cardinals system. Sometimes that happens in spring training.
I'm not sure their years overlapped exactly. I think they were off a year or two. I actually looked that up yesterday trying to find out if some of the Cardinals that have been around, like John Jay, may have kind of overlapped with Peralta, but I don't believe so. Take another look at that. Down and up, takes the helmet off. Wow. Ugh. Yachty was a catcher in the minor leagues. Johnson City, the lowest level Cardinal club, in 2001, and was already in the big leagues by 2004.
sometimes a young pitcher will be asked to throw a bullpen in front of the major league staff. So
that could be.
You never know.
Not as a teammate, but as a bullpen. That's
right.
True. Very easily have happened. Peralta was a starter, by the way, and had a very good ERA his first year in the minor leagues, 2.7.
Pretty amazing to come back as a position player, and he had multiple stops in independent ball along the way. And as I mentioned earlier, here he is batting cleanup for a team that's still in the race. Give guys like this all the credit in the world.
He's batting cleanup for a team that leads the National League in runs scored.
Good point. One ball and 2 strikes. 2-2. Rosenthal that struck out the first 2. We turn to our player of the game tonight, presented by Budweiser. Lackey a chance at win number 11. 7 innings. He's our Budweiser player of the game.
Another strong outing for a Cardinal starter. John Lackey's been consistent, and he gets those 7 innings. Again, we've talked about how deep he's gone in the game, how he's answered every start every 5th day. Now over 170 innings on the season.
He's going to be way above 200. Aaron Hill at the plate. The 1-0 pitch in the dirt. 2 balls and no strikes. Here's a 2-0. 3-0. And so now the tying run comes to the plate.
Pretty important inning, by the way, for Kevin Segrist to get through a clean 8th inning to lead to Rosenthal here in the ninth. He got Owings, Inciarte, and Pollock. Not an easy task. 1, 2, 3.
Jake Lamb 0 for 2. Rosenthal trying to notch save number 40. First pitch is strike. That's driven out to center. Borges is there. The Cardinals have another win. Save number 40 for Trevor Rosenthal. 3-1 the final tonight. Redbirds will look for a sweep tomorrow.
Best thing about what the Cardinals have done here in Arizona is handle a hot team. They had swept Cincinnati, feeling good about being over 500, and the Cardinals have just taken it to the Diamondbacks the first 3 games of this series.
It's on to the postgame show. Jim Hayes and company standing by. What was a frustrating night for Arizona. 40 saves for Rosenthal. 3-1 our final.